So we really, really would like to encourage everyone to come to the meetings and give us your mana'o.
I really stress on what Josie said because this really is a human, human task force for violations, and like he explained, for Kanakamo'ole and for non-Hawaiians, and we like to see a lot of non-Hawaiians coming out there and telling us your abuses, because we don't want you to feel that it's not for non-Hawaiians, it's only for Hawaiians. It's not a Hawaiian issue, it's a human issue. So please, as we say, come and bring your complaints. We'll be only too happy to take it.
Oh, mahalo. I noticed that there's mortgage fraud. There's, the human right to contract, to not be deceived, to not be enticed into slavery, to not be extorted from, is quite a unique one here, because you have agents of the administration guaranteeing that the principals, the patent owners, have deceased and no one's around. You have a guarantee coming from these administration officers stating, title's good, go get it, go live on it and go take it. And from my perspective out here is what I'm seeing is an enticement by an administration for them to participate, for an individual to participate who's totally deceived, thinking that they're buying this clear account and everything, and coming in and participating in direct displacement of a certain people who has been discriminated against for generations, and whose estates and probates have been looted for about as long. So I think that because it's independence for Hawaii was brought up at the UPR session, where the United States was basically put on a review for human rights violations. Now, this has never happened in history again. This has never happened, and I am stunned by it all too. It made me really happy, actually.
Me too.
That somebody mentioned independence for Hawaii, and so I went up to the websites, the OHCRH websites, and what I did was I looked for the text that they had during the sessions, and there were Native Hawaiian groups mixed in with indigenous coalitions. And what was brought out from these groups was that all they were concerned about was indigenous native rights. Indigenous native rights being considered prior to the administration making other decisions. And I thought that right there was kind of, muddy waters, and that they were muddying up the waters even more, because how can you take a constitutional nation and demote it down into, just an indigenous label that they're obviously using for countries and nations that have never achieved a constitutional status, which is not to say that First Nations cannot achieve that status right now and patent their own lands. So when I'm looking at something like that, and I'm looking at the Human Rights Task Force, I see a venue, not a personal one, not a self-intended one, but I see a venue to finally unify everyone as humans. This is not a Hawaiian thing, it's not a haole thing.
No.
It is, for goodness sakes, it's a human thing.
When we can look at each other as human beings instead of ethnicities, we got there. Then we own it.
Owner.
As far as we start looking at each other's nationalities of different creeds, then that will cause a division.
Right.
We need to get beyond that, and start looking at everyone as being a human being. We are the children of Keokua, and Keokua never set no ethnicities on us. Right? You're all my children, and we need to respect that, and we need to leave it and not dock it. That's what I say.
That's my kaimana'o. Yeah. I noticed, Jeremiah, that you brought a flag with you.
I didn't want to be.
Our prompter has prompted us. Right now, what you're viewing on the screen is a United States Department memorandum sent to all governors and also to the District of Columbia. Now, which one is this one here?
The governors.
This one was sent to all of the governors. So Linda Lingle obviously received this memorandum. And what this memorandum is doing as far as its purpose, it was brought out in January, it is stating to all employees and agents that you're going to be held liable. This is the year that you will be held accountable, liable, and responsible, because those are the obligation criteria under all of these treaties. These treaties set the international law, they set the penalty, they set also things like Title 18, Section 241 and 242, no two persons shall conspire to harass, intimidate, injure, make them disappear. This is under a domestic law because it's wound up in the international law, and these treaties state it clearly. Now, there are treaties to protect against racial discrimination, treaties to protect against abusing children, treaties to protect against government's complicity with human rights abuses, such as taking away shelter, treaties like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, actually basing it out for everyone and making it very clear and crystal clear for all people to see that they don't have an excuse to violate your human rights just because they're the clerk at the courthouse, for example, which is technically a substitution for our Hawaiian Postal Savings Bank. And you know me, I'll always get those kind of little tidbits in for you. And just being the clerk, refusing to record a document, and knowing that he or she is bound by the duty of being a clerk to take that document and record it, or have the clerk go through your document and try to advise you like an attorney, try to give you legal advice. Now they're crossing the line. You'll see in this memo that all secular, federal, and local administration officers and agents are to be held obligated under this. Okay? And I like this memo. I actually have copies of it. And I know that you folks bring copies and pass them out. And it really is an eye-opener to DLNR agents and officers, MPD, clerks, anyone who could just take it for granted that, you know, knowingly or not, that they're just doing their job. And it's their job to tell this Kekioko Aina that they can't go pick limu.
Right.
You know, they think they're doing their job, but they're actually violating a human right. So on the other hand, agents need to be aware of this. And we can all do our part to support their enlightenment and their commitment to positive change and direction by making copies of this memorandum and handing them out ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So it's pretty serious, you guys.
It is. It really is. You know,
Yeah.
but then the law is the law, but justice before law. That's bottom line. Justice before law. You cannot be hiding behind the skirts of the law by saying, well, I'm just doing my job. And you know, inside in you, you know you're violating that person's rights. Right? The human
Right,
rights.
there's a consciousness.
Man has to look within his or her soul, and you know, and just because it's a law and you know that's your job, you still have to have some kind of consciousness that
Right,
wrong is
right.
wrong, and if you don't stand up, then you're just as much responsible for your actions as anyone else. You know, we're all held accountable for our actions. No one should be exempt from that.
Well, I certainly hear you on that one. I was asking Jeremiah, he's got a flag on his lap there.
Yeah, Maya.
First of all, I just want to say that, you have these words of art of words. One of those art of words is that when you see the government, Hawaiian government, you got to wonder to yourself, that word government, is that a Kanaka word or is that an English term?
Oh.
So you got to look at the word and say to yourself, that's not the proper word. Or when you see the word kingdom, not to upset anybody, but then again, you have to look at the definition.
Or
and
the
find out-
creator of it.
Or the creator of it.
Sorry
Where
to
did the
interrupt
word
you.
kingdom come from? England or from our ali'i? Think about it. This is one of the flags that came out during the time of when they tried to hide Ko Hawaii Pai'aina. They tried to hide it because they didn't want anybody to know there was a constitutional monarchy. They just want to say it's a monarchy.
National.
Makala, because basically it is the nation that was taken away and hidden and concealed. The flag that was presented at the time during Kauikeaole was this flag. I want you to look at this, and it has basically the 8 islands, the stripes, but the state flag has a red. You notice? It's a red. Our flag, Kauai Pa'aina, has a blue. Blue is a nice color. It's peaceful.
I
not
believe it
red of
stands
war.
for peace.
This
Yeah.
is all about peace, neutrality, and getting everybody to cooperate instead of competition, which everybody would love to have if they went on that side. Our side is about peace. Our side is about forgiveness. Our side is about having everybody join. This is basically our true flag of Kauai Pa'aina. It's the blue. I just want to bring that out so that you recognize our flag that was hidden, that was chopped up, ripped up, given away, forget. I just want to bring it back. So for those of you that want a peaceful nation, a nation that will help you have free healthcare, free education under our true nation, please come to our meetings so we can talk. Come to our meetings so you can get out your mana'o. Come on. And that word come means to enjoy. So thank you very much. Thank you. Just thank you for. And I'm honored to be on this committee. Very honored
Well, thank you. Thank you for your commitment too.
to serve the people.
Oh, mahalo. Thanks for bringing the flag. You mentioned the nation and one of the human rights violations, or several of them actually, can be committed against a nation.
Yes. Yeah.
And so what I hear you saying is that the erasure and the disappearance and the rubbing away of a memory of a very powerful symbol of a nation has happened.
Yes.
And just, learning with everyone here about human rights violations, it's a nation that has
They
gone
wanted to
through
erase
violations.
this. They just wanted to erase it. Like the word Kohawai Pa'aina, you notice there's basically no English word in that.
Right.
It's all Kanaka. So when you're looking at something, make sure you understand who wrote it and what is the definition before you start going, yay. You should go way, way. Question, always question and test the water.
Like we all did, right, at one time.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yes.
But I can add to that flag,
Go ahead.
just by been in Canada, and I know we have some. I've been in Canada, and then what I've learned from there, I've been there for 5 months, is that our king, Kamehameha III, was a wonderful king, and I studied about the treaties that he had with other countries and nations, and I read a couple subjects about how these other nations was so happy when Ko Hawaii Pa'aina was the nation that was taking care of everybody. through
46 treaties
Through treaties.
was assigned to this flag. 46.
Possibly more.
Possibly more.